Okay, this is this is a bit of a different video than I would usually do. I'm on camera. Hi. I don't usually do that. I mean, I do in the performance videos, so that's a little bit of a different context. Usually, when I'm doing the talky ones, I don't spend as much time on camera. There's a lot of me on screen at the moment. Enjoy the trippy mirror effect. It's probably a way. I'll turn that off for a second while I'm talking. Yeah. So if you've happened to stumble on this video, my name is Kyle. I am a musician, primarily a piano player, keyboardist. I also sing, play guitar, bass, drums, a few other stuff reasonably comfortably, but piano is my main one. I've been doing that for basically my entire life. On top of that, I am an educator, a musical everything. I don't know. I work with choirs. I work as an accompanist. I do workshops. I do individual lesson tuition, all sorts of different things. I work as a composer. I work as a arranger. I do recordings, mixing, mastering. Basically, if it's got something to do with music, I've done something about it. I've been making videos on YouTube since officially probably 2009, because I think I deleted all of my really, really early videos, but I think more closer to late 2007, early 2008. And the reason I point that out is it has some relevance with what I want to talk about, which is AI, but in a positive way. I've just had a really big rant, got it out of my system, and I don't know, I feel like one day I'm going to have to make some sort of cohesive rant video about AI, but for the time being, my thoughts are too scattered for that. So instead, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a positive video, and I wanted to talk about the fact that the lie that we have been sold about AI in everything is that it gets rid of the tedium. That is the word they keep focusing on. You know, it gets rid of the boring, the things that you don't want to do. It gets you to the content, the product. We have been told that our creations, our love, our joy, our humanity is a content, is a product, and AI makes us get that quicker and easier and more of it out there. Now, the reason it wants you to do that is because it needs more things to feed on. It is an Ouroboros. It is an infinite feeding machine. But that is beside the point. What I want to talk about is accessibility, because that is the argument that they make. Accessibility. Accessibility in creativity is so important. They have stumbled onto that truth. Their answer to that truth is give us money. That is not the answer. The answer to that truth is that there needs to be more support in public education and with younger children, especially to provide a continuity of support and education through music, arts, theatre, athletics, all sorts of different things like that. That is a bigger issue, and that is definitely not an issue that AI is going to solve, nor do they want to solve. They want to make that issue worse so that you go to them instead of going to anywhere else. However, let's talk accessibility. I am physically and mentally disabled. I have autism, ADHD, depression, anxiety, and probably a wombo combo of who knows what. I was diagnosed at a very young age, and I received the best support possible at the time, which was not great. A lot of that was basically, here's how to act like a normal person so people won't beat you up. Debatable how successful that was. Physically, I have a condition called ankylosing spondylitis. Basically, all of the bones in my spine are progressively turning to cement. Around that, that's also caused severe issues with repetitive strain injuries in both of my arms, carpal tunnel, arthritis, things like that. Probably other issues that I haven't had the time or money to get checked out. We're not talking about accessibility in the healthcare system right now. That is a whole other can of words. My point is that if anyone gets accessibility, someone like me who grew up in a low-income household, who continues to be in a low-income household now and has both physical and mental disabilities, I know how important accessibility is. It is, in fact, one of the core pedagogies that I have based all of my education and my work around, and I continue to advocate for. So part of that advocacy, I am putting this video out there, and I'm going to talk about all of the tools that I use that are ridiculously accessible and have absolutely nothing to do with AI, and will in fact help you more than AI ever possibly could. Now, I'm just going to start off with a brief summary of some software that I use, because I know people are struggling with companies like Adobe and Avid and things going the way they're going. So I'm just going to very briefly prepare for the multiple Kyle jump scare again. Hi, we're all back. Okay, I'm going to very briefly show you some of the software that I use. Okay, so first up, for any of my image-based stuff I use this software. This is paint.net. This is a paid version. There is a free version. It was actually free for ages. It changed over the paid version. The paid version is stupid cheap. I think I spent like $5 on it. I think the only difference is that the free version has like a tiny little ad banner somewhere. I don't know. It may have changed. It has been a couple of years since I've used it. This is basically MS Paint and Photoshop almost entirely rolled up into everything. It's got everything you want. Colors, layers, all of your tools here, effects, adjustments, everything constantly updated. Super duper easy to use. You can export in all of your relevant file types, all of that good stuff. Everything I do that has anything to do with images whatsoever, I use this program. And I'm not even an artist in any way, shape, and form. I'm not an artist, but I use this. I've heard a lot of good things about GIMP. I've never used that. I've heard a lot of good things about Clip Studio. I've never used that. Honestly, even MS Paint, you can kind of do a lot of stuff that you need to do in there. For anything when it comes to PDFs, I use, which I haven't got it saved because it just opens up when I open a PDF. Hold on. Very organized here. PDFs. So if I open up a PDF, I've got PDF Reader Pro. PDF Reader Pro is the paid version. Again, there is a free version that uses ads. The paid version is like $5. It's super duper cheap. It is everything that Adobe Acrobat used to be, plus editing, exporting, conversion, text, everything. So someone who does a lot of stuff with sheet music and things like that, this is a ridiculously useful tool for me. Playing back into that as well, LibreOffice. Okay, so I used to use a program called OpenOffice. This is a branch of OpenOffice. This is entirely free, and this is entirely open source. So it's constantly updated. It's been worked on by people who know what they're doing. Okay, you've got documents, you've got your spreadsheet, you've got your word processor, you've got drawing, you've got your Excel, math formulas, you've got databases, everything that Office used to do, templates, all of that. It can open Word documents, it can export Word documents, it can open PDFs, it can export PDFs. It literally has an update. I updated it yesterday and it has another update right now. I am doing this recording in OBS. OBS is free and always has been, and is very intuitive, very easy to use, does not cost any money. I do all of my video editing in, which you can't see because it's behind me. Oh, I'm going into the corner. Hey-o. DaVinci Resolve, which is down here. That is the free version of DaVinci. Doesn't cost anything. Super powerful, really easy to use video editing software. I use Reaper for all of my mixing and mastering. It has an incredibly robust trial period and is super cheap to purchase if you're a small creator. They have a professional version that's a lot more expensive, but that's for, people who are using it in studios and things like that. Here is probably other software that I use. Mixcraft I use for all of my recording. That is very, very cheap. The base version of that I think goes for like less than $50 these days. It also has a subscription that is a subscribe to own. So it's more close to like a payment plan. You pay it off over a certain amount of months and then you own it outright forever. I still use my license I got for this when I was 17. I've only ever had to pay for the upgrades. Okay? Not even Sibelius licenses work like that anymore. Speaking of Sibelius, here's the big one. MuseScore. I switched. I was a Sibelius kid. I started using Finale and then Sibelius from about Sibelius 2. When Sibelius 3 came out, a whole bunch of us got to go to an Avid sponsored, not Avid, who owned it back then? Binary Designs, a sponsored course that taught us for like a whole day. We got to go down to Brisbane and do hands-on workshops with composers and people who use Sibelius. Sibelius was my bread and butter all the way up until about Sibelius 7. MuseScore, when it first started, was not great. It was not. It was a free piece of software. Nowadays, I trust it over Sibelius. Full stop. I have heard good things about Dorico. Dorico is stupid expensive, and realistically, I have a feeling by the time MuseScore 5 comes out, it's going to be doing what Dorico is doing for $0. Okay, it has free integrated VSTs that are amazing and robust and sound better than some of the stuff I have spent monies on. It does everything you need to do at a click of the button. Everything you need is right here on the side. You can fully customize, create your own custom workflows. This is not a MuseScore video, but just to let you know, I have wholly, for the last maybe 5 to 6 years now, completely moved all of my workflow, and I do notation, editing, composition, arranging, all of this stuff all the time. I have 100% moved all of my workflow to MuseScore and never had an issue and never ever wanted to look back. The multiple files are back, sorry. Okay, so that is just some more examples. I'll put links to all of these down in the comments of just some software that is literally free or stupid cheap. Okay, so if you have access to the internet or a device, which almost everyone does now, I know there's a whole argument for the accessibility of computers, whatnot. People get things through school, they get laptops, they get things like that. A lot of this stuff has phone versions that are even cheaper or free that you can just do on basically any phone as well. Okay, I've got free metronomes, free tuners, free recorders, everything on here that work totally fine. No issue whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. So let's talk about creation. Okay, because this is where the argument comes in. It's like, okay, yeah, so software, if you've got a computer, you can probably get Suno, you can probably get whatever, that's not the accessibility. The accessibility is that I find it tedious to have to sit down and create and record. It takes forever. I've got to make a drum track. I've got to do this. I've got to do all of that. Yeah, you do. Well, it's like, I can go and I can get a Macca's burger when I don't feel like cooking. And, sometimes I don't feel like cooking. It's not my passion, but the food that I cook and the process of cooking it is always so much more enjoyable. That's something that is just a thing that I need. That's not even a thing I love. Music is a thing that I love. I love the tedium of creation. I love sitting. My favorite thing, I used to do it for hours. I would still do it for hours if I had the ability to. I call it musical jigsaw puzzles, is I just sit and I put sounds into things. 4 bars of piano playing, a drum loop, something, put it into the recording. I used to, before I had a recorder, I used to do it on my phone. After that, I had a laptop. All my first videos on YouTube were with my school laptop on the worst webcam you had ever seen. No mic, no anything. Sitting and strumming and playing guitar and peeking it all out and uploading it at 240p. And with our terrible internet, that used to take like a whole day and use half of our uploads up. But I loved it. I had to do it. Okay, so let's talk about creation. Let's talk about some of those quote unquote tedious parts. I'm going to use a very specific example here, just because it's something that I've been working on. I'm currently working on a game jam, where I need to create some music in the sort of Southern Creole New Orleans jazz style. That is a very particular style of music. It's one that I have a lot of experience listening, but not necessarily a lot of experience performing. And it is also a very collaborative style of music. It's about people coming together and making music. That's very hard to do as just one person. So to get the initial sketches going, I needed a drum track. Now, the sketch was due very quick, so I needed to throw something together very, very quick. Now, the software that I use, Mixcraft, comes with thousands and thousands of free recorded and human-programmed loops and tracks. So I went through all of those, and there were none that particularly jumped out at me as exactly the style that I was going for. So here is what I do. And here is what you can do, and you can do this all the time. We have a fantastic resource at our fingertips called YouTube. So I can go here. I use this for all sorts of different things. There is a funny video about AI, because apparently everything I'm doing is about AI these days. So say I want a drum loop. I can type New Orleans jazz drums. Yeah, let's just pop that in. Okay. Great, right here. So here is a performance. Oh, look, here is a lesson of someone playing some New Orleans drums. Nice. Sweet. It's got all sorts of sections here. Look, here's his... Yeah, grooving. Okay, so if I had a drum kit, I do not have a drum kit. That's going to be a super useful video. I could spend some time with that and record some drums. I could also use it to physically go in, program some drums. I can even use it for keyboard drumming. However, what I can also do is, just for the purpose of drafting, this is never anything I would freely steal or anything like that, is I could download this video and I could snip a particular section of this that I liked and use that just as the basis for recording over. I ended up using a different video. I usually go... Okay. I can't remember specifically which one of these I use, but there is a lot of these videos up here that are just very, very simple videos of human beings playing drums. Okay? And it just loops. You can download the whole thing. I convert it and I put it in my thing and I use it as a basis. I also use these with my kids when we're practicing contemporary music in place of a metronome, because it gets the feel across a lot better than something just sitting there going. All right? Yeah. So now I have gone and I have automated the process of a drum loop. I didn't need another person to do it. I didn't need AI. I didn't need anything to generate it for me. In a 2-second search on YouTube, I have found everything that I need there. Okay? I also need... Look, I play multiple instruments. I have that benefit. Clearly, I would not have taken this job if I did not have that skill set. Okay? That is a totally different argument. Okay? I've been doing music my entire life. I have a specific skill set. This is how I expand my skill set. Okay? The other thing I needed was a bass line. Right? And originally what I did is, because I'm not the best bass player in the world, is I went through and I tried some different bass loops, because I'd used a pretty typical progression because I was just looking for something pretty typical. So again, I went on YouTube, I looked up bass parts. None of them quite lined up in the way that I wanted. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Well, what I'll do is I'll program the bass. That still didn't sound great. So I said, okay, well, I'll play it on the keyboard. I never really I've got decent quality. Again, free VSTs. Do not go past the free VSTs. The ones that are integrated with Mixcraft alone are ridiculously good. There are a lot of other options. That's probably a whole other video, but it still didn't quite have the sound that I wanted. And because my piano playing was going to be live, I'm very fortunate that I have a friend who's a horn player who recorded some live horns for me as well. That could have been another accessibility issue. Again, I might have been lucky to be able to find some stuff on YouTube there. I might have been able to program stuff. The other option is to take a look at Fiverr or similar commission processes, where you pay a small fee and someone will lay down some tracks and stuff for you. Even an open call out over Blue Sky, things like that. You'll be shocked what people have, that musicians love playing music. Honest goodness, we love getting paid for it, but oftentimes we really just love playing music. But my point is, with the bass line, because everything else was going to be live, I knew that I had to have a live bass. Now, thankfully, I vaguely know bass enough to be able to do things. So I have spent the last couple of days, even though realistically this piece has been finished for over a week now, it's held up because I'm currently teaching myself how to play the bass line on bass. And it's tedious. It's taken ages. My chops are rusty. It's, a bit of a hit to the ego, but the end process is going to sound better. Even my donkey playing is going to sound better than a computer is, or God forbid an AI generated something. God forbid an AI generated something. I'm doing the same thing with the guitar part. I had to brush up my triad chops because just playing open chords, which I've been doing for quite a long time now, is not the right feel for that sort of jazz. So I've been having to brush up how to do my triads and my things like that. And it's fun. It's fun. And at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy that part, then, maybe music isn't for you in the same way that it is for other people. But having the AI there to regurgitate something for you and call that your creation and argue accessibility that's not accessibility. What that is it's a roundabout way of hitting shuffle on Spotify or something. There is no creation involved in that. And the distance from making the thing and then making the thing good is not as far as you think it is. The hardest step is the first one. The hardest step is the making the thing. And you'll be shocked once you do that making the thing. And there is no wrong way to make the thing. Every recorder on our phones these days, the cheapest phones, have recorders that are better quality than what Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody on. Like, the quality of the digital recordings on these things are ludicrous. Like, actually ludicrous. I'm going to go full screen again because I don't need to show some stuff. It's me. Hi. Oh, I could have picked a more flattering angle, couldn't I? My point is that time is not tedium. And that is the argument that these people want to make. These people want to make the argument that time is tedium. They want to make the argument that you're a busy business owner. You don't have time to sit down with Canva. You don't have time or money to spend hiring an artist to design your new business logo, to design your new posters. No, I'm not going negative. That's not the point of this video. The point is that music especially, let's just pull it to music because that is my thing. Music is the most accessible thing possible. Your body is born making music, the beat of your heart, the pumping of your blood, the flow and rhythm of your body. It is born with the ability to make music, and we lose that the older we get. We lose that the older we get. There is nothing more pure and beautiful than seeing a toddler or a child just singing and dancing and grooving. I say this as an educator. I say this as someone who works all the time with musicians of all ages, all ability. Every single person on this planet can make music. The only barriers to the creation of music are inside here. And a lot of them we don't put there. In fact, the vast majority of them we don't put there. And what AI is, and the people behind AI, and the adopters of AI, even people who picked it up out of curiosity, even people with the best of intentions, even people with no intentions. What AI is more barriers in here. And every single one of them is going to tell you that you can't make music. You can't make music without these tools. You can't make music without this. You can't whatever. Everyone at every moment in their life can make music. Good music, bad music, doesn't factor into it at all. Music. There's a huge amount of research that suggests that we made music before we communicated any other way. That is an intrinsic fact of human nature, and techno-fascist billionaires, in order to make us as a society reliant on their money and on the fear that keeps them in power, want to convince us that we cannot do our basic human functions. They want to convince us we cannot parent without AI. We cannot think with AI without AI. We cannot create without AI. I guarantee you, every single person can create and share their creations. And the more you create, the better you will be getting at creating. But music is very vulnerable. Music and art and creations like that are a part of ourselves, and we fear it. And AI and technology gives us a shield. Because if things are bad, it's not us, it's the AI, it's the technology. But you need to shift your thinking. You need to remember, okay, this adage has been all over the internet. I can't even remember who said it first, but make it exist. You can make it good later. And I hate that terminology. I don't ever use the word good. We never use that at my school. I never use that with my students. I never use that in anything I do outside of the pure philosophical concept of good and evil. Totally different thing. When it comes to creation, there simply is where you are now and where you will be. And every step on that road is a step from where you are now to where you will be. And our shift as society in focusing on music as content, art as content, package. If you cannot create a product that people want, then you have no worth. That is the thinking they want to give you. They want your worth to be a $sign. They want music, art, creation, life to be a $sign. The worth of music is the thing itself. The worth of music is every second you've spent doing it. And it does not matter if that is on an instrument, if that is with your body, if that is with your voice, if that is with your fingers, if that is with a $10 drum machine you got from a second-hand store, if that is with your cousin's guitar that you strum once a week. It does not matter. Just do the thing. Find the joy in creativity and watch your brain heal in real time. Whether that's music, art, philosophy, politics, athletics, criticism, writing, acting, whatever it is, humans need to create. Parenting, to create life. Whether that life is a human life, whether that life is music, whatever, our core human experience, even those billionaires out there, still want the joy of creation. They want to create the product to fill the void, to make them money. But I guarantee you, they loved every second of the tedium of creating that product. And they will love the next product that comes along and the next one after that as they perpetuate this cycle. So here is my message to you in this incredibly long, rambling, all over the place video. Okay? I suck at scripting. That's not the message. My message is that art of all levels is already ridiculously accessible. Ridiculously accessible. Look at Discord. Find communities through your favorite YouTubers. There are so Bandcamp. There are so many people out there who are doing this, who love this, who want to share their love, their time, their knowledge. And just create. The next time you have a moment to yourself, hit record on your phone and sing a little bit of your favorite song. Don't worry what it sounds like. Don't worry about trying to be good. Don't worry about being anything. Find a moment every day to sing. Find a moment every day to dance. Find a moment every day to create. And every second we do that, we embrace our humanity more and more. And every second we do that, we take power away from the worst people that are trying to tell you that the core of your humanity and your human experience is tedious and needs to be replaced.